Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Kester.
And happy Wednesday to you, everybody, here on Sports Daily. It's Jacob Albrecht, Paul Savage in for Tommy Kester here this morning. We've got you for the next 2 hours, and we're glad to have you. The IHOP hotline is open, brought to you by IHOP, where you can celebrate the weekdays, new IHOP House Faves, all your favorites, just $6 Monday through Friday. We've got a big guest group coming up today. Bottom of this hour, Shreyas Laddha, our KU insider, joins the program to talk a little bit about the exhibition game we saw last night from KU, exhibition game number 2 for the men's basketball team before they get the season going officially against Howard. That will be on Monday. We also need to talk a little KU football with Shreyas off of the Sunflower Showdown loss, now coming into a bye week. We'll get the latest on KU football. So that's coming up at 9:30. At 10 o'clock, Wichita State men's basketball coach Paul Mills will join the program. We've seen a shocker exhibition game now. We'll see what Coach Mills thought of his team's performance in that game as they get ready to open their season next week as well. So those are your guests today. A lot of college hoops talk today. We'll get into the World Series a little bit. The Yankees keep things interesting. Of course, we'll talk football on this show, as we always do. And we're excited to have you here with us on a Paul. It's a Hawaiian shirt Wednesday as well, as it always is. You and I celebrating. So happy Hawaiian shirt Wednesday to all those who celebrate. And do your best rain dance. Maybe we'll get a little rain in here finally today around the area.
I'm going to make a prediction, Jacob, and that is that it's going to be raining by the time you and I get off the air.
Let's do it.
It feels
We've got. I was talking with our Storm Team 12 meteorologist yesterday, Adrian Campa, who does the 4:00 newscast with me, telling me he thinks there's a chance this could be, over time, a significant rain event over days. So just so desperately needed, so excited to see that, and so hopeful that we get some of that rain, help these firefighters out, help everybody out, get the water levels back up. Let's go, Mother Nature. Let's get this thing done here over the next couple days. And Paul, I say that I'm in the iced tea business. We need sunshine. No, we need rain right now.
There you go.
We need a little rain right now. Speaking of that, we'll give away some HTO later in the show as well. Your chance to win some iced tea, some coffee, all the good stuff. So, Paul, we had exhibition basketball last night. I keep joking. It always sneaks up on us, right? Like it always sneaks up on us.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm.
Feels like it did a little bit more this year, and I blame the Royals for that and their great success and the run that they had of, taking our energy there for a little while longer than it normally might. But it's here, man, where the exhibition games are in the books for men's basketball, and we start seasons next week, which is wild to think about. And as we're watching these exhibition games, and I don't know if you felt the same way, a lot of names out there that we need to get to know before, not too long here early in the season. Not just going to be for the 3 teams we follow. It'll be for everybody. A lot of new faces and new places.
Yeah, everything's new. Everything that's old is new again in college basketball. And by the way, there's a reason why it snuck up on us. You got the World Series going on. You got college football going on. You got pro football going
We've
on.
all got that stuff.
And let's not forget. But let's not forget, NBA started a week ago today. So it's been going for a week. Already starting to see some interesting stories. I guess they're interesting. How interesting can it be if it's the NBA and it's in the first week of their season? I don't know if it could be that interesting or not. But there's some things going on. We'll see how it all plays out. Way too early to get too involved in the NBA, but it's going on and we're paying attention. But
I'll tell you what you watch in the NBA. You watch your local players, led by Wichita's own Grady Dick, who I think he is in line to really ramp up his scoring. So his game logs this year, he's averaging 16 a game. He's had as many as 25 in a game. But here's what I like, Paul. He's been taking about 15 shots a game, 13, 15 shots a game.
Yeah.
He's got a big opportunity this year. That's what I've been watching. And then we'll, of course, keep tabs on all the local guys in the NBA. But it is a fun time of year.
It is. Yeah. By the way, NBA, real quick. Oklahoma City, Jacob. We're not going to go to sleep on Oklahoma City. There was a day where we would have a broadcast and we would talk about Oklahoma City. Those were back in the days when Breastburg and all those guys were down there and down in Oklahoma City. But they're good, Jacob. They could be in the NBA Finals. That's a good basketball team. And I make a prediction on this show right now. This show will pay more attention to the Oklahoma City Thunder than it has paid attention in a long time. That's just a prediction.
Maybe so. Maybe so. We'll find out, but not today. Not today. Today we were talking college basketball. And look, both teams obviously win last night. K-State and KU played. I love these exhibition games against the other Kansas colleges because it gives us a chance, and it gives a lot of Kansas kids opportunities to go play at Allen Fieldhouse, to go play at Bramlage, to go play at Charles Koch Arena. So that part of these is cool. I love that that's the exhibition circuit, more or less. And so we look at it, and we'll have Shreya Salata in just a little bit to talk about KU. We had seen one from KU. We had not seen anything yet from K-State. Of course, you heard the game right here on KFH, your home for K-State athletics. And look, there's a lot of questions for this team, but I think this team has a chance to be really good, Paul. And, you know, I was joking with Brandon Zinner at the office yesterday, friend of the program, that I have high expectations selfishly for Brendan Housen, the transfer in from Villanova. And he was like, what, like, why selfishly? Like, what did, you know, is it? And I said it because he's from Amarillo, which is where I'm from. You know, his high school career was very storied. But I said, I really do think like they have a big need for him and what he can do. I think he's going to be a starter, and I think he'll be a meaningful contributor. Well, last night, Paul, he took 14 threes, hit 5 of them, shot at about 36%, 15 points. Didn't take any other shots, just took 14 threes. And I do think as you look at strange things that happen in exhibition games, I think my prediction will hold true. I think he's going to take a ton of threes this year. I think he's going to hit a lot of them, and that'll be a big part of what K-State's able to do offensively. And then, of course, all the attention goes to Coleman Hawkins, who famously became, you know, one of the more decorated NIL athletes ever that they get in from Illinois, and he looked good. 13 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, filled up the stat sheet for you. So I think that's a good sign. But, you know, you look at it, and the guys that led in minutes are all very predictable. I think the one maybe surprise for people is David Castillo, the freshman out of Sunrise, only played 12 minutes. I think people have high expectations for him, and I do too. I don't know how much of it's going to come this year because I think underrated, Paul, is the collection of talent K-State was able to bring in this year. Doug McDaniel did not have a good shooting night. They expect that to not be the case all year long, obviously. Achor was effective. They did not have one of their Joneses, but CJ Jones played a ton of minutes. He looked really good. It was balanced. It was what you want to see. And it was a rotation of 7 guys. I would guess that stretches out to 1 more, and then we'll see what David Castillo does. But I did think we got a pretty good look at what K-State's going to want to do. And I'm telling you, Paul, I think they're going to exceed expectations. I think they'll be back in the NCAA tournament. I think they'll be a top half Big 12 team and a loaded Big 12. And I think K-State basketball fans ought to be pretty excited about this team.
Well, I'm not quite sure I'm there with you.
Yeah, it's early. That's predictive, certainly.
That's right. We're going to have to see several things. One, we're going to have to see the Wildcats shoot the threes better. That's going to have to. I think we can say that safely. But this was a game that was a lot closer than it needed to be. We're playing Fort Hays State. In Bramlage. I mean, that's a game that we would expect to be much like the way KU and Washburn that outcome was. That was never in doubt. But this was a game that was a 4-point. Refresh my memory if I'm getting that wrong. But I think this was a 4 or 6 point game midway through the second half. This was a game that should have been a little bit more lopsided, given the fact that it's a Division II school versus a Division I school. So with that being said, I've got some takeaways that I need to see improve. I want to see 3-point shooting improve. This is a team that they have potential, but I'm not sure we saw part of that in full last night. Now there's some good things as well, but there are some things that, for instance, K-State kind of let Fort Hays back in the game a little bit midway through the game. I mean, there were just some things that I don't know that you would want to see. I think this will be a good basketball team. I'm certainly hopeful, at least if that is the case. But, Jacob, there are some question marks in this game.
Well, sure. I don't have a ton of questions that way in an exhibition game. I never have. if I and we can ask Paul Mills this at 10 o'clock. If I was a coach, there would be not a lot on the scoreboard other than like being, competitive internally. There's not a lot I would be working on so many other things and trying to do so many other things. You kind of you just don't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
That I don't look too much into outcome. Just like, good example, it makes no difference to me that KU lost to Arkansas in an exhibition game. Like none, zero, zilch. Probably more now than ever before because of how many new players have to come onto these rosters. Like you don't get much time to acclimate a whole new group of people. And so, like, to me, it's far more important that they are running the offense appropriately and they know what you're calling and they're doing that kind of stuff. We'll have plenty of time to sort out the wins and losses. That starts next week. So, but we'll ask Paul Mills about that. It's a good question. How much of that do you look? I mean, and these guys are competitors. They're always looking at the scoreboard, but we'll get into that. We're going to give you just a small taste of the KU game, and then we'll get Sri Aslata in here later this hour as well to help us make our way through KU's exhibition game last night. I want to say this portion of the program brought to you by Crestview Country Club all November long. Be thinking about the holidays at the club. Brunch experiences. You've got New Year's Eve coming up. There's a big party there. Youth activities, adult nights at the club. They've got a big Thanksgiving brunch and take-home stuff. So Crestview, it's more than golf. We're members. We appreciate their support. Give them a call. Check out the memberships and all the great things they do over there. We're going to come back. We'll talk a little about KU, their Washburn game. We'll get more into that with Sri Aslata later this hour. Paul Mills, Wichita State head men's basketball coach, coming up top of the hour, top of next hour, I should say. It's all coming for you on a jam-packed Wednesday edition of Sports Daily.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash this check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news. Critically hurt after an apartment. Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Tune in here, KFH, 6 o'clock tonight. Voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus and the Chiefs Kingdom show, followed at 7 by Wildcat Football Talk on the Chris Kleiman Coaches Show. Busy night here on KFH. You can find it all as well on the Odyssey app. Hey, Paul, we're going to get to KU basketball with Sharius Latta in just a minute. A couple other things I wanted to ask you about. Jalen Mason of Northwest commits to KU last night. I don't know if you saw that. The very talented Northwest quarterback. Who I know you've seen play plenty, coaching over there at East, is headed to KC. So that's very exciting to get the local kid there to KU. Right. What was your initial, and we'll get into this a little later, but as far as what you've seen from him, how does that translate? What was your initial thought on that?
Well, he's a Division I athlete. I mean, he almost walks onto the field. You don't even need to see him play. You know, a lot of times you can tell a kid how athletic he is just watching him walk. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what kind of player is. Great arm, strong arm, accurate arm to a certain extent. It will get better, but he is a difference maker on that football team, as would be almost any Division I skill type kid would be for anybody's football team. But he's a difference maker, and particularly when you have that kind of kid at quarterback, because he can run the football, he can throw the football, and he has command of his football team. And what I mean by that is you can sense and you can tell that this team, this is his persona. This is his team. This is a team that he commands and will command. And he's really a good football player. I'll tell you what, KU could do a lot worse on commitments for quarterbacks. I like this kid.
They beat Iowa State for him. That's a big win for KU, and we'll see. I immediately texting everybody like, how excited should KU fans be about this?
Yeah. And by the way, how excited are you that in the course of this year, of the course of this season, that you see KU struggle the way they are? But this young man looked past all that stuff and said, "This is a great staff. I like the coaching staff." Jalen Daniels, will he be back? I don't know if he will be back. We've heard things on both sides of the camp. He will be back. He won't be back. He's going into the portal.
I think the way we can get into this with Shree. I think the way he's played the last 3 weeks, they would try to keep him. He's certainly
they're
not
gonna try,
rust off.
yes.
He's looked much better lately.
Right.
So we'll see. But this has been a rough year, obviously, which we'll get into in just a minute. So I wanted to get your quick take on that. We'll have more on it in about 8-9 minutes from now. The other one that I wanted to get your take on, because I'm seeing more this morning. So, and I just, as a coach, we haven't talked about this yet, but as a coach, you saw that the Colts are benching Anthony Richardson, the young quarterback, to bring in Flacco.
Right.
Richardson's healthy. He's not hurt. After the game, after a crazy play, he kind of checked himself out, which happens all the time in football, but not by quarterbacks, because he was tired.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's
what is your take on benching a young guy when Flacco seems to have the offense running a little better? Do you have a problem psychologically with that at that position? Because at other positions, we see this all the time, right? We see players get benched when they're not as good. If Joe Flacco gives the Colts a better chance to win, is it not the coach's job to everybody else in the locker room to give their team the best chance to win? And, if a young quarterback can't look at how well Justin Fields is handling the Russell Wilson situation. If a young quarterback can't handle that, I don't like that. That to me is telling too. I don't think you fear that a young quarterback can't handle getting benched. We saw Bryce Young get benched. He's back in there. This doesn't mean Anthony Richardson's getting benched forever, right? Flacco's just playing a little better. Do you have any problem with that?
Well, I got you on that. And by the way, who wouldn't bring Flacco in? I mean, he's like a miracle, man. What is he, 60-something? I think he's in his 60s. I'm not sure. But anyway, let me just hold on just a second. Hey, Jad, the next segment, I'm going to take a break. I'm a little tired, so I'm going to rest up just a tad. If you don't mind, on the next segment, holler at me if you need me, but I'll be out on the couch right out here outside in the studio. Anyway, with that being said, no, it's ridiculous. A quarterback getting tired. What do you think about the guys in the trenches, Jacob? What do you think those guys do? Have you ever seen one of those big uglies put their hands on their hips? You know what happens? You know what that means when you see hands on the hip of offensive linemen, defensive linemen, hands on, they're tired. They're tired. Do they come out? No. A quarterback coming out, that is the most ridiculous.
Wide receivers and running backs come out all the time when they sprint the field.
Well, that's a different thing. But I mean, we're talking about a quarterback.
I know. And look, if that, and I agree with you, by the way, he shouldn't be checking himself out of a game. That's a part of the learning process, right? So if you hear that and you see that and Flacco plays, like, why is everybody so afraid that Richardson won't do all the right things because of that and come back a better player for it? Like, why do we pamper quarterbacks so much?
Who's pampering? I mean, I don't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's criticism to benching him because he's this very talented young player and bringing in Flacco. But people are acting like they're giving up on Anthony. They're not giving up on Anthony Richardson. They're just going to Flacco right now for right now. Who cares?
Yes. Go to Flacco. You may not come back because Flacco's been
sure they will. Sure they will. At some point they will.
At some point, but I mean, you're going to lose. Listen, this says something about character. I don't care how you rephrase this thing. This says something about leadership and character.
Well, it says something to me about coaching. Like, let's learn this lesson right now.
Yeah, and let's teach this lesson and let's get this taught. So there's going to be some changes made. There's going to be some punishments put out, and I get that, and I think that's probably the smart way to do it.
And I don't think, by the way, I don't think that's the reason solely that this change is happening. I think Joe Flacco's giving them a good chance to win games. Is why this is happening.
Jacob, I shouldn't say this because maybe this says about my own character, but from here on out, I'm going to remember this about Richardson. I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember when he got tired. So he wanted to come out. And I'm going to remember 5 years from now, if he's still in the league.
Oh, that's silly. That's ridiculous. For one thing, that 5 years he hadn't even played a full year of football. He goofed. Who cares?
He goofed. Well, that's a heck of a goof. I'm telling you right now.
Did you see the play?
Well, I'm not sure.
Brian Flores came and defended him and said, I'd be tired too after that play. The problem is, Tom Brady never needed to physically take a play off because he doesn't do those kinds of things, right? He doesn't run like that. He doesn't move around and shit, So we can't. You also can't try to fit a round peg in a square hole. Anthony Richardson will do things physically that other quarterbacks don't do. He still has to learn how to not check out on a play. You can't do that as the quarterback. But let's not pretend like he's out there loafing.
Well, but the point is I guess the overall point is this. Play or no play. The point is this. You got to have a kid who's got to be dragged out of a game. How many times you say, don't take me out. Don't take me. I don't want out.
I don't disagree.
No. Go back. Yeah. I'm not coming out. I don't want to come out.
I don't disagree.
That's the mindset.
Right.
What do you mean you don't agree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
I think you're right. What I'm saying is let a young player have the opportunity now to understand I'm the quarterback. I can't come off the field. Like, I can't do that. And he'll learn that lesson, and he'll be just fine. And if I'm the coach, I can't justify to the rest of my team. If Joe Flacco gives me a better chance to win, I'm going to play Joe Flacco.
Absolutely.
So I know they took Richardson early, and I'm not out on Richardson. I think Richardson still has a ton of upside, but I just don't have any problem with making a switch. Just none at all. And if Richardson can't handle that, and I'm not saying he can't, I'm quite certain he can. If he can't handle it, then I've got a bigger problem there anyway, right? If you can't get benched and then come back later, like, that's a problem. That tells me more about the psychology of my quarterback than whether he had to take a play off because he just sprinted him, around the field and had linemen hanging off his back. Anyway, I wanted to get your take on that just because I keep seeing headlines about it as we do in the NFL. All right, when we come back, we'll dig into KU's second basketball exhibition game. We'll dig into football, the big recruiting news yesterday from here locally with KU, and we'll talk about football. Jalen Daniels, what does his future look like? What does the rest of this KU football season look like? We got a lot to cover today with Shreya Slaughter, our KU insider of the KC Star, and we'll do it next.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us.
Anytime, any screen.
With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
It's that time, Sports Daily, getting all the inside information on the Kansas Jayhawks. Let's go now to the KU football and basketball beat writer from the Kansas City Star, Shreyas Laddha.
And welcome back into Sports Daily. Shreyas Laddha is joining us here on the program, and we have a ton to get to as it pertains to the world of KU. Shreyas, beat reporter for the KC Star, our KU insider. And we'll start with hoops, even though we've got recruiting news, especially that pertains to us here in Wichita. We got a lot of football things to get to off of the Sunflower Showdown. But KU basketball played last night, Shreyas. They played their second preseason game. Very different from the first, obviously an outcome because they're not playing Arkansas. But even in the style of what we saw in the game, we saw Rylan Griffin for the first time, who was effective. David Coit was the leader on the team, which was interesting. I did not expect that. And we also didn't see, 17 shots from Dwan Harris, who only took 4. So as you're watching that game, Shreyas, this probably is more like what we would see in the regular season. Obviously, still no Hunter Dickinson. But what were your big takeaways last night?
Obviously it's early, but the shooting certainly looks a lot better than last year. I think last year they were like 6 of 21 against Fort Hays State in the exhibition. So that's a good sign that they made nearly 50% of their threes yesterday. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the minutes off the bench plays out for guys like Griffin, and Diggy in that sense. I think both those guys could be key contributors for them off the bench. And I have a feeling this is going to be a interesting year for Self and his rotations because he's going to have a while to figure out who works well with who and who works best playing less or more minutes with this guy or that guy. I think it's going to be a lot of janky lineups early on until conference play, until they really figure out, how many minutes they want to play guys. I think, for example, like Diggy could be really good in non-con play, but he's also like 5'10", 5'9" without shoes. So I don't know how many games he's going to play in conference play. I mean, obviously his defense looked pretty good, but that's against Washburn. So the level of quality of play wasn't great there, but I think his height is a natural disadvantage in that sense, but he can shoot. So if they need shooting, he's going to probably be out there on the floor. Zeke Mayo looked good. Griffin looked good. I mean, Griffin looked like a guy that started at Alabama, which he did, that went on a long run. Flory looked pretty good too. Obviously the guy who was matched up against in Washburn wasn't great, but 10 points and pretty good defense. Overall, I think it was a good showing, I think, from pretty much everybody that you need to see things from besides AJ Storr.
So when you say AJ Storr, like a level of concern there, because they're obviously going to want him to be a big part of what it is that they do this year.
I'm not super concerned. I will say, and I'll go on the record about this saying this. I think in the sense of him being the Kevin McCullough replacement for scoring or just overall, I don't think he's going to be quite as good there. I think Kevin is just more consistent day in, day out, as he was last year, of course, before he got hurt. But, I think he's going to be a guy once he figures out how much he should be used, like how he should be used in the sense of like, Bill talking about him being more or less aggressive and kind of finding that rhythm. I think that's the toughest thing. With this team, there's so many individuals that can score and put the ball in the basket. AJ was the guy on that Wisconsin team. He's not going to have the ball nearly as much as he did, in Wisconsin, and I think that in itself is the biggest adjustment for him is, okay, I have teammates that can score the ball. It's not always about me going out there and driving and getting my own bucket. Even though he's going to still do that, and it's important that he does that, and you don't want him to be too differential. But I'm really curious to see how his season plays out because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty up and down as he's figuring it out. And I really, I think the ceiling for him is very high, but I think the floor can get ugly at times.
I've got to ask you a question to get you on the record because we start, real play next week. So I got to get you on the record with this right now. This is a heck of a basketball league. I mean, I've got no problem with KU being on the top of a lot of people's pick to win the Big 12 in basketball. But give me the next three teams. Give me the three teams, the three top teams who are going to challenge because it could be 5 teams. It could maybe even be a couple more than 5 teams. So give me your top 3 challengers to the Big 12 championship that you personally see.
Houston, you can't count them out. I think they have a great coach. The defense is always very good. I mean, I think they'll be interesting because I know they don't have some of the guys they had last year. But I'd probably say Houston's their biggest competition. Iowa State's going to be, as they're a top 10, top 15 team. I think they're going to be really good this upcoming year. I think honestly those two are the 2 biggest competitions for KU. I think Arizona would be another one. I think those 3 I think will be right in the mix of where KU will be. I think it's going to ultimately come down to health for everybody, and I think it's going to come down to for KU. It's the core group of guys they've brought back: Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, and DeJuan Harris are going to play the bulk of their minutes. How are the complementary guys? If the complementary guys are good, how much better are they than last year? That's the big question.
So when you bring up health, I think it's a good point. Last year, health bit them in the butt. Health and an off the court issue before the season ever began, and they were way too thin. It is impossible right now to imagine that will be an issue this year. But I just wonder, like, how much because their rotation looks like it's going to be at least 9 guys with what they've brought in and what they brought back and everything else. Is there any when you get into this, is there any danger in like the pendulum swinging too far the other way after last year, having too many guys and trying to figure that out? Or because of what we saw last year, are we, and this is where I think I probably sit with this, who cares, right? Take all the good players and it'll sort itself out.
Yeah, I think I'm on the second wave there. I think also, unfortunately, it feels like not everyone is ever healthy at the same time in college basketball. There's always somebody missing something or some time. I think, especially with the guards and some of the wings KU has, they have a lot of talent on that end. But, if you look at the bigs, it's just kind of Hunter, KJ, Flory, and Zach. And Zach, I don't know how much you guys have seen from this past couple games, but, I think he's just kind of there right now. Like I don't really see a defined role for Zach Clemence yet. And I'd say Flory, as he gets better and he continues to get better on the defensive end and figures out the offensive end, I think he'll end up eating into Zach's minutes in the sense of if Zach is the backup center to start, which I don't think he is. It looks like Flory's going to be the backup center, even if he plays less minutes, and Zach is just kind of be there. But I don't know, like the Zach Clemens thing for me is the most interesting like question mark with the guys off the bench because he's basically didn't play he didn't play last year. I thought there'd be a lot of market improvement, but like the thing he was known for, shooting threes, he doesn't really do much anymore. And then if he's not doing that, what's his role on this team? And it's clear he doesn't quite have a set role either yet. I asked him about it on media day, and he was kind of like, "Oh, I can play anywhere. I can do this. I can do whatever the coaches need me," which is great. Like that's a great attitude to have. But I think it's a tough position for a guy like him to be in because this is an important year for him. I mean, I think he gave up the opportunity, 2 years ago to go to a good school in UC Santa Barbara. They probably could have, gave him a lot more playing time than KU did. And I think the big rotation for KU is a little thinner than the guards and the wings and all that. But I think it's good. I think in the long run, having more is good. And I think having the different play styles and different guys on and off the bench is going to be huge for KU, I think, as they go later into the season.
For the University of Kansas, they play exhibition games. And sometimes it's hard to get anything out of those games. I mean, in terms of what do you know? But when you watched KU in exhibition basketball this particular season, what's the one takeaway you have taken from exhibition basketball this year for the University of Kansas? What's the one thing that you said to yourself, wow, I'm not sure I knew that, but I'm glad to have seen what in the exhibition season?
Oh, that's a really good question. I want to say, I think the Flory Badunga, kind of question I had of how good he is. I see why everyone is so high on him. I was high on him, but you never know until you put these guys out there. But he really showed a lot of flashes for a guy who hasn't played basketball that long. I mean, he played, he came to the U.S., I think. He played in Indiana for 3 years. I think he started playing his home country of Congo at 15 or so not super long. But I've been pretty impressed. I mean, he, if he can keep his fouls under control, I think he can be a really good piece for them and develop into something that they really like. I think Griffin told me that he's the best rim protector he's had, and he played at Alabama. I think that's a big thing. He's right up there with some of the best rim protectors he had. And I think you see it in spurts, right? You saw it against Washburn. He had a couple of nice blocks. His defense and his length is just so, I think, intimidating down low. And, just talking to him on and off the board, he's a really good kid. And I think that's huge for his character and stuff like that. But I'm really excited to see his development throughout this year because I think for college bigs, it's so hard initially, and that development takes longer than a guard or a wing, in college.
And he's in the right spot. Bill Self does that as well as any coach right now, developing those raw young big men. Let's talk a little football. KU falls in the Sunflower Showdown, Trias. It was a game, to me, I'm watching it, I'm like, which one of these teams makes the last mistake, right? Because both teams just were making a ton of them, right? Fumbles by the quarterbacks, missed throws, missed opportunities. I think in the end, we shouldn't be surprised with how it played out. I think Avery made a few big plays late. Jalen didn't make a few big plays late. He made a few mistakes. But I still think Jalen Daniels looked like the correct Jalen Daniels for the most part in that game. The fumble was a fluky thing. So that brings us to now what? Going into this bye week. They didn't get it done against K-State. They got to win outright. Is that right? To get a bowl game? I do think they're going to have some big wins down the stretch here. And they'll beat some teams that surprise people because I do think they're at least playing better now. I don't know why Skinner keeps dropping passes. I don't know why these things keep happening, but at some point, like it's just hard for me to believe you stay that unfortunate for an entire season. And it feels like at some point they're going to sneak up on people and people will remember why they had them picked so high in the league.
Well, we're getting to that hour where it's now or never.
I know. but doesn't it feel? I guess the point is, doesn't it feel that loss felt different than the UNLV or the Illinois loss, right? And so have the last couple here as they've begun to play a little bit better.
To me, I don't think it matters. It's a loss is a loss. They're 2-6
Right.
at this point. I think, I think Lance talked about it, and I asked him, like, is there positives to take away from games? He's like, yeah, we our ass off. We played well, and we're a good football team. And I'm like thinking, no, you can't sit there and say that anymore. I think for somebody who had them winning 11, I'm completely on the other side now. I think this team has been a massive, massive disappointment in the sense of every expectation going into the season. Now we're just talking about them making a bowl game. Do we really think they're going to go 4-0 the rest of the way? No, it's not going to happen. Okay. And this Kansas State game was the perfect epitome of the entire season. Backbreaking mistakes at the worst possible moments that cost them a game. It's consistently happened. To me, that loss didn't feel that different than any of the earlier losses because every time they're in a position to win the game, they haven't done anything with it. I wrote about it in the game. They've been in 5 opportunities to tie or have a game-winning drive. They haven't made it past the opposing 39-yard line, and that was a West Virginia game. That's a big deal to me. It's not even about scoring points, but you can't even get in the red zone, not once. I know the Arizona State game, they had like 15 seconds, but they didn't even make it past midfield there. I just don't see this team. Maybe they'll have a shock win or two, which I wouldn't be surprised if coming off a bye week or whatever. But, I don't really see this team finishing better than 2-2 the rest of the way. I just don't think everything that's, transpired. Jalen has looked a lot better than he did at the beginning of the season, but it doesn't matter because in key moments, he's still making mistakes. Like that fumble was, a drive killer and it ended up losing them the game. Before that, obviously the interception didn't end up mattering that much. It could have been much worse because the guy returned it to midfield. And, I look at this KU team and I see the talent. I see why everyone is, so adamant that they're going to turn it around. But, at a certain point, it just becomes, are they actually going to do it or are we going to just keep hearing about it? And that's all I've heard, for the last whatever many weeks is this is a good football team. They're going to figure it out. They're going to turn it around. Then show me that.
I agree. And Paul, I'm going to jump in real quick. I agree with all that. I'm not sugarcoating the disappointment at all. I think for me it is, and this isn't something like fans want to hear or excuse or anything else, but you said you thought they might go 2-2 at best. But if they go 2-2, Shreas, they will have beaten either Iowa State, BYU, or Colorado. I think that's for me, like there was a point in this free fall where I would have told you they have no chance against any of those teams, right? I think they do now, though. I do think they have it, and it's probably as simple as Jalen Daniels, Grimes being on the same page, whatever has changed there. But I think it matters what happens over the last 4, because I think there's a big old elephant in the room about what happens next year at quarterback. And it is important for KU to figure that out if they can right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm going to be honest, though. And this is just speculation on my part and just kind of reading the tea leaves a little bit. Unless they go 4-0 or 3-1 or whatever, and Jalen tears it up, I think it's going to be a point where both parties are seriously considering maybe it's just time to go afresh.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that Jalen has NFL draft aspirations, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen at Kansas, like being a top first 3-round pick. Unless, he has the season he has, which he could have a really good season next year if he stays at KU. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. He's very talented, very good at, I think he's a good quarterback. But I think it's just something that both parties are going to have to ask themselves, are we getting what we want out of this? I know there can be some frustration about losing, some frustration about the early season. I think Jalen has really looked a lot better. Lance is very loyal to Jalen. I think that's a great attribute for him, and they have a great relationship. But I really don't know what's going to happen with this KU team next year, because we're talking about 30 seniors leaving, 15 of them are starters. It's going to be a really, really, really big transfer season for KU football. It's going to be a busy season on that end. And I don't think they're going to be better than this team in the sense of talent, but they might be better record-wise next year because they picked up good enough transfer talent. But this is going to be the biggest test of Lance Leipold in his, kind of coaching career, because, whatever we want to say, Lance's best players the last few years have all come from coaches before him. Okay, this is the first time where he's going to have to go out there and pick up guys that are his guys, and they're going to have to sit there and be there for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. I think that is going to be huge of like who they bring in from the transfer class, how they look. But, also if they do finish badly, does that mean Lance, fires assistant coaches? Does he do any of that? Does he, he doesn't typically done that, but he has a few times. And, does that get looked at? Is there a mutual parting of ways in that end? There's so many questions with KU football that I think unless they go 4-1 or 4-0, or 3-1, that we're going to have a tough time processing all the changes that's going to happen. And I think it's going to be really hard to project who they are next year because of the new faces and potentially new coaching staff.
Well, I'm a little confused because here's my question to you. So I'm a KU fan. Say I'm a KU fan sitting right in the middle of Lawrence, Kansas. Am I hopeful for a big outward movement in the portal? Do I want a lot of portal movement out? Do I want to reshape this whole football team through the portal, or do I hope that we maintain and try to keep quite a few of these players that are now on this team? I'm confused. What do we want?
Well, I think it's not about even what they want, what they don't want. They're going to be forced to get portal guys because of so many guys leaving, right? There's 30 seniors that can graduate. 15 of them are starters. They're going to have to go in the portal and get it because they're not getting a high school recruiting class that's going to come in there and, at the level of, they can go sit there and start right away. I think the younger guys in KU have shown promise. Some of the guys Sean Warner, et cetera, we've seen promise throughout the season. You don't want a mass exodus from Kansas. And, I think Kansas has done a good job of keeping the guys they need to keep. But I think it's going to be a really busy incoming portal transfer class for Kansas because they need to fill in a lot of holes. And there's going to be a lot of holes after this season. They need to go out there and get a lot of receivers. Their 3 starting receivers have potential to leave. They got to pick up a tight ends. They don't have tight ends after this year unless Deshaun Hennick I guess Deshaun Hennick comes back, off the redshirt medical. But there's a lot of question marks. The lines are the only things that could be stable. After that, all the skill positions on every side are that guy could leave if he wanted to leave for graduation or the NFL or whatever.
It's a good place to start if the lines are there. You can read more about that. There is recruiting news. Jalen Mason, the talented quarterback out of Wichita Northwest, commits to KU last night. Trias will have more on that. Trias has more on the basketball game last night. It is a bye week. We're up against it. A lot to cover today, Trias. We appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Go find Trias' work at the KC Star. Follow him on social media at SHRE98. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back-to-back interviews here, Wichita State men's basketball coach Paul Mills stops by. We'll go through their exhibition game and look ahead to the start of the season next on Sports Daily.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news. Critically hurt after an apartment. Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody, here to Sports Daily. We go back-to-back guests because we start off hour number 2 with Paul Mills, Wichita State men's basketball coach. We've got an exhibition game in the books. We have seen basketball, Coach. You guys, like basically everybody else, maybe you guys a little less so, and I know you're excited about that, have a whole lot of new things to unpack with a whole lot of new players. If you had, one or two just things that really stood out to you from the exhibition game over the weekend, what are you telling your friends you're excited about out of what you saw?
Well, I don't know that I'd base it necessarily on what I saw. It's basically on what I've seen. I was encouraged the other day by only 5 turnovers. We had 14 assists, 5 turnovers, and only one of them in the first half, and that actually was from a big. If you look at it, 4 of the 5 turnovers that we had were from our bigs. And so you're happy that the guards were able to make good decisions, be solid in that respect. But I am excited about how well this team shares the ball. You know, of our 34 shots that we made the other night, 14 of them were assisted. But that's not a great ratio. You'd like to be north of 50% of your baskets to be able to be assisted. But, you know, the thing that we take into account are potential assist. You know, when we made a pass, hey, Jacob may make a pass to Paul Mills, but Paul Mills may miss the shot. And so it may not necessarily register on the stat sheet, but we have in-house analytics that we do that track potential assist, and was really encouraged by that number. But I am encouraged by how well this team shares the basketball, and it's something that we needed to make a significant stride in.
Do you think when you see that, do you think it lends itself, Coach, to this being a balanced attack? I would imagine that's what you want, right? We know there are shots to be had, but you'd probably love everybody to be taking them, right? Is that the design of this offense?
Well, the goal is obviously to get the best shot possible, and you want to be able to do it in a pretty efficient manner. And so, you know, taking the right kind of shots is pretty high on my list. Who takes them is pretty high on the list. I mean, you have a guy in Quincy Ballard who led the country last year in just the ability to make field goals. Now, the majority of those shots are dunks, and you'd prefer that. I mean, that's the best shot in basketball. But we really pay attention to what is the shot quality, and are we taking the right shots? I mean, teams aren't just going to let your best player shoot whenever they want. But the second thing that goes into it is who's taking them. So I think we pay very, very close attention to the level of the shot that we're getting. And you do want them. I mean, this is a team game. You do want them to be assisted. You know, I go back to Purdue was 3rd in the country last year in assisted buckets. They had an assist on 65% of their possessions. Connecticut, who they played in the championship, was 5th. They had 64% of their possessions were assisted. So I think it is a quality of really good teams.
You know, Coach, you look at your schedule, and it's a really unique preseason before you get into the always tough conference schedule that you guys have to play. And that is a gauntlet. There's no question about that. But at some point, you know, you're going to have to look at this squad and say, what do we need to do in order to be ready for this conference schedule that we've got to play? What's the one thing you're going to try to do that will make this team ready for the conference out of the preseason?
Yeah, we need to be the best rebounding team in our league. I mean, we need to do a really good job there. I mean, I think anytime that you can limit your team to less opportunities, you don't want opportunities extended by giving up offensive rebounds. That is definitely a focus, and I think it's something that we spend a great deal of time on, something that we pay a great deal of attention to. So I would tell you that defensive rebound is kind of how we gauge it. To give you an idea, if you're right around the 80% mark, if you can say, hey, you know what, let's get 8 out of every 10 of the other team's misses. You're going to be number 1 in the country. 78% actually leads the league, but leads the country. But we need to do a really, really good job there on the glass, and it's something that Wichita State basketball has been known for, and it's something that needs to continue here.
Coach, we were wondering earlier as we saw KU and K-State playing last night. You guys had one over the weekend. When you get to these exhibition games, how much, and I know the competitive nature is there, you want to win the games, but how much as coaches are you even paying attention to what the score is versus like individual things that you need to be working on to come out of the game with? Does that make any sense? How much time do you spend with the score versus what you're trying to execute within an exhibition game?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I tell you I didn't pay attention to the score, but I will tell you that it's not it ranks pretty low on the list in regards to things that you're actually paying attention to. I don't know that we would play any different if we were up 30 or down 30, and that's something that you share with your team, that what we're trying to do is play the game. We're not here to play the scoreboard. So whether we're up 20, whether we're down 20, that does not dictate our ability to make an attempt to just dominate our space and dominate this particular possession. So I think you go into it very scripted. I know that we did, especially for the first 24 minutes of that game. The other night, it was very scripted. We were going to bring these people in at this time. I don't know. I saw a little bit of Alabama-Memphis the other day, and they didn't have foul counts. I think we did, but I know when we scrimmaged Oklahoma State, we didn't even have foul counts. So, there were guys out there playing who had 8 fouls. And so you're not necessarily challenged by, hey, this particular guy's in foul trouble. Now what's the next question that we need answered in order to deal with this particular issue? So I do think that it's scripted. I think it's probably scripted for a lot of coaches. They want to see certain combinations in those kind of environments, and you get the best answers you can with the limited time that you have.
Coach, talk a little about three-point shooting for this particular basketball team. And you're 40% on the exhibition game against Emporia State. Where does this team need to be percentage-wise? What is that percentage of threes being made do you need for Wichita State to be competitive in this conference?
Yeah, for us, we just need to be over a 1 point per possession. So what you ask your guys to do is, can we make half of our twos? And those need to be the right kind of twos. And then can we make a third of our threes? And if you do that, 2 for 6 from 3 is 6 points. The same as 3 for 6 from 2 is 6 points. So it's 6 points either way. One, you're shooting 50%. The other one, you're shooting 33%. We need to do that. We're not going to be, and I have no illusions, we're not going to be the best 3-point shooting team out there. What we need to be able to do is convert free throws. And if you look at it, and I've been a part of this, I coached a team for 3 years, over a 3-year span, that was number 1 in the country at making threes. But what we were also good at was making twos. And everybody would ask me, people would ask, and are you trying to lead the country in threes made? And the answer was always no. We're trying to lead the country in dunks. And if you ever look, the teams that lead, but teams just don't let you go dunk the ball. Yeah, so what they're trying to do is collapse. They take it away. You can spray that thing out. You get guys who put in time in the gym and can make shots. If you look at the 2 teams last year, Indiana State and Alabama, who led the country in threes, well, they also led it in twos. And there's a correlation there that the teams that can put pressure on the rim are going to draw defenses in to prevent that, because teams aren't just going to let you get there. And then you have to be able to make it. Now, what we need to do is can we make a third of those? I don't care what shot we take, it needs to equate to more than a point per possession. And if you're in that neighborhood, you're going to be in a pretty good position. You got to stay away from shots that don't lead to more than a point per possession.
Coach, as we get ready for the season, we've got Western Kentucky on Monday. Everybody played, I think, last night or over the weekend in the exhibition game. What do you expect, at least early on? What kind of rotation? Because you got a lot of guys here that have probably earned some time. What kind of rotation do you expect early in the year?
Yeah, it depends on the opponent. You're going into a game on the road. And there may be some players who are not familiar with that. And from what I understand, the game is sold out there in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It is a team that returns 12 players off of an NCAA team. 11 of the 12 played a year ago. And I know they're really high on their freshmen. So I know, all of that being said, you're not going to put young guys in harm's way. And you're probably going with a lot of experience, especially early, and then have those other guys. So I would tell you that I feel comfortable with 9 guys, but that thing shrinks, especially as you get into tougher environments. We'll see how this all plays out, but I would feel good right now saying that we have a number of guys who've been experienced. You have returners, the 5 of your top 7 from a year ago, and then we've been able to add some experience. But we're not going to put anybody in harm's way from a depth. Now that doesn't mean to say some of, whether it be Zion Pipkin as a freshman or Joy or Giannis, 2 guys that, one redshirted, one played limited minutes. It's not to say that those guys won't play. It's just you're going to rely on your experience in a game like that.
One of the things that we really enjoyed just a couple weeks ago was an interview with Corey Washington. We had him on, and we really enjoyed having him on our show. And he seems to be a young man that's focused. He seems that he has that quiet leadership. Is he going to be the leader of this team? And by the way, had a great night from the field, going 6 for 7, scoring 15 points. 6 for 7, though. That's not a bad average right there, Coach. Yeah. What is the expectations for Corey Washington?
Yeah, I love Corey. He's a utility knife. I mean, he can cut through spaces that other people can't, and can get there. His motor never stops. I mean, if you ever watch, as soon as a shot goes in, he's usually on the ball, picking up full court. He is our best conditioned athlete. The one shot that he missed the other night was a grenade, in my opinion. Bijan threw it to him with like 2 seconds on the clock. He had to shoot it from 24 feet. And that wasn't really a quality possession for us. But I will tell you that his motor doesn't stop. He's ultra competitive. He isn't. We don't want to change people just in regards to who they are. Obviously, they need to change. But if you kind of just have a demeanor about you that you're a fierce competitor, but not necessarily you're the loudest in the room, that's usually okay, And he does it. He is going to let his actions speak louder than his words. And he does a phenomenal job of just showing up every day. And you kind of preach that to your players, just being an everyday guy. It's interesting to watch him because he sits in, we have 4 rows in the film room, and he sits on the 4th row. All your bigger guys try to sit in the back, as I've realized when they pick seats in the film room. But his eyes are probably the biggest in the room. Like, he's constantly paying attention to what's being said and what's on the screen, and he's going to be a heck of a player. And I think Shocker fans will absolutely love this kid.
Yeah, I think we got a taste of that for sure in that game. Wichita State Henman's basketball coach Paul Mills spending a few minutes with us. We really appreciate it. You mentioned Bijan Cortez lobbed him that grenade. I wonder on Bijan, who it was a kind of a messy way to get his year going last year with just getting him on the court to begin with. Have you seen a difference? That's a guy with a big pedigree. You obviously brought him in last year. Now that things have settled, just with him being able to get out there and play, how much progress from him as a player at this level have you seen over the course of last year to now what you're seeing this year?
Yeah, there's definitely an adjustment for him, given the fact that his time at OU, specifically his sophomore year, was pretty limited. And then he comes in here, asked to sit out, and, hey, Bijan, you're eligible to play here at the end of the semester. Congratulations. Your first game is Kansas State in a Kansas State tilted arena. And then your second game is Kansas. And then you just jump into conference. And so I don't think he ever had a chance to dip his toe in the water and figure out what the actual temperature was. It was just like, we're throwing you in and it's pretty cold. So you need to adjust. And, happy for him. I mean, he only played 15 minutes the other night, but 3 assists, 0 turnovers, both of his shots that he shot, the threes that he shot him with confidence. Thought he did a good job just making simple plays, had a number of 2-foot paint touches that he was able to get, but he had 6 potential assists, and proud of the progress that he's made. He's really good on the ball and defensively, and he cannot get away from that. The thing that we have to continue to get Bijan to do is be continuous. I think a lot of players, once a ball is passed, once after you're defending somebody, they kind of relax and say, woo, glad my guy didn't score. And what they don't realize is defense is just beginning. And so we have to get him to think more continuously about the entire possession, but he's a very capable defender and has a chance to really make us better on that end, the more continuous he is.
Wichita State men's basketball coach Paul Mills, one more for you just to tidy things up. Any news yet with Mate and his availability, eligibility? Do we have any updates there?
Well, do y'all have a hotline to the NCAA?
Yeah, they blocked my number. If you can.
Oh my God, they haven't blocked ours, so that's good. But no, I think we'll see. Sometimes these are 11th hour decisions. As you get closer and closer to the timeline, we don't know anything as of yet, and we're tracking a number of kids all across the country, and so we're not the only people who are in this boat waiting for an answer.
And then one from a listener here, Austin asks, Coach, the biggest thing you're looking forward to in year 2 coming in now that maybe is a little bit different now that you've had the full year underneath you.
Yeah, I'm excited about our depth, and I'm excited about our experience. I mean, that's why you turn around. I mean, we get the freedom to kind of, we know who we have to play, and we get the freedom to mutually work on dates with the opposition about what works. And when this became available to play on the road, and what'll end up being a very tough place to play from a team that went to the NCAA tournament, let's try it. Going back to the analogy I used earlier, I didn't want to dip our toe in the water and then figure out, are we ready to dive in yet? We're going to dive in. We're going to see where we're at. We'll get better as a year, but I am excited about our depth, and I am excited about our experience.
Coach, we love that first game, national television, big. It'll be one of the better games of the openers out there. So we're certainly looking forward to it. We know you guys are. You'll of course hear it right here with us and our Odyssey family. Coach, good luck in this final week of preparation, and next time we talk, we're going to be game ready.
Well, we'll have a record of some sort. So,
Coach, we appreciate it. Paul Mills.
Thank you, guys.
There goes Wichita State men's basketball coach Paul Mills. Always appreciate the visits there. Looking to do that more this season as we make our way through. A lot of great stuff there. If you missed any of it, you can go back and listen to it on the Odyssey app. That gets, podcasted out basically there by Jad. So you can go back and listen if you joined us late. A lot of good stuff. Individual players. I think, Paul and I suspected Corey Washington, when we talked to him, might have something to say at a fantastic opener. And boy, Western Kentucky on the road to open the year. Bring that on. We're excited about that game. We love that. Love it. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to catch our breath after back-to-back segments. We'll open back up the IHOP hotline for you. It is at 869-1240. It is brought to you by IHOP, where you can celebrate the weekdays, new IHOP House Faves, all your favorites for just $6 Monday through Friday. We will also give away some HTO this hour, so stay tuned for your opportunity to win some prizes there as well. We're going to come back and regroup as Sports Daily rolls on a Wednesday.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us.
Anytime, any screen.
With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
HTO here, Paul Savage. If you want to win some free iced tea, one of the 25 flavors, including the all-new peach cobbler, sweet, unsweet flavors, all kinds of good stuff, and some free rain coffee, iced or hot, you can do that right now by texting the keyword TEA to the short code 20357. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. Again, that's T 20357. Good for East Wichita, West Wichita, or in Derby. Good luck, everybody. See if you can't win a prize. Yes, Paul.
Hey, we've got to talk about giving away maybe some HTO water. I'll tell you what, I've had that now for the first time in the last couple weeks. That's darn good stuff. And by the way, I've learned the fact that HTO is they've got some of the best plastic bottles in the business. They've really gone all out on making sure that they're the safest and the best bottles for bottled water.
Yeah, good water.
And you know that. And we, one of these days we got to start pushing a little water out here because that's
Yeah,
good stuff.
It's good water. It's good water. You have to get in there and try it. All right, Paul, as we make our way through and sort of catch our breath with basketball and the flurry of the preseason that's happened, I don't want to lose sight of, the other things going on out there either, as we've had just massive trades made in the NFL. And this keeps happening. This is as active as we've seen a trade deadline be. We saw the Ravens go out and get Deontay Johnson, a guy we've thought for a long time would make sense for the Chiefs, of course, before they went and made their move for DeAndre Hopkins. But that adds an interesting piece of ammunition to the Ravens offense because he's very talented. And then you get the Vikings, and this maybe is more interesting as it pertains to the Chiefs. The Vikings, who lost their left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, for the year, go out and they make a trade for an offensive lineman. Cam Robinson comes in. Now, I would say that the Vikings are more desperate at that position than the Chiefs. It's a position we know the Chiefs would like to improve at, and probably in the most likely scenario is that their young players develop. But what if I told you, Paul, that it cost the Vikings a conditional fifth that can become a fourth, which I don't think they can make that trade twice. That's what they gave up to get D-Hop. But it makes me wonder, could you have traded a little bit more when we don't see offensive linemen traded that often, and the Vikings went and found one. Expiring contract. Interesting move, I thought, to see a left tackle traded at this point.
Well, that seems cheap to me. It seems cheap.
Well, inexpensive, right? But and they would have had to pay a little more than that because that's the trade they made for D-Hop, and this is a rental most likely. Is Robinson's on an expiring contract, so you're paying that for a rental, so they probably would have had to pay up a little bit more for that. But we saw left tackle traded, Paul. So if there's a market for it, and you're the Chiefs, do you pay attention to that?
Well, we've also seen what the problems are at left tackle for the Chiefs, and they're not pretty. I worry every game, about the health of Patrick Mahomes, which we all do. It's something that I think has to be addressed. You want to go on a Super Bowl run? You want to win another Super Bowl? You're going to have to do something if you're the Kansas City Chiefs at left tackle. I don't know that you can go with the rest of the season with the situation that there is right now. And I guess some of the young kids can get better, but we don't have a timetable on that, do we? We don't have a timetable that's set for that. So
that's the problem. That's a good point. And
that's
is the point. They have invested a lot in these two particular players, in Wanya Morris and Kingsley Suamataia.
Right.
You'd like to think that over time they will improve. I would say that is likely. By how much and when does it happen?
I know.
Right? And again, this goes back to the same conversation we have all the time. Okay. Do the Chiefs treat this season differently because of historically what's on the line? I have contended, yes, they do. Now, the trade for D-Hop isn't any different than the move. That's the third straight year they've traded for a wide receiver. Or is it the fourth? Whatever it is. I think it's the third.
But they needed to.
But and they've needed to, but it's not necessarily going any more all in than that. But we saw left tackle traded. There is now an established market for a left tackle. So there's 1,000 different ways. The Vikings are more desperate. They lost their defensive tackle, so that their defensive tackle's out for the year. I don't think the Chiefs are in the same position as the Vikings were, and it could be as simple as that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I can give you a scouting report on Cam Robinson. I know he's a player that's been paid a lot of money in his career and is a relatively high pedigree. But if I'm going to try and tell you, compare Cam Robinson to Wanya Morris and how much of an upgrade that is, I don't like lying to viewers and listeners, Paul. I don't know. But I know a move was made at left tackle. So then you get into 1,000 different questions. What would your scouts say in an evaluation of a guy like Cam Robinson? Because the Vikings didn't really have that luxury. They had to go find a left tackle, and so they did. The Chiefs still, if they were to make a move at left tackle, it has to be for somebody that they can say with, certainty they feel like is better than what they have, which are two young, raw guys trying to fill that hole and right now playing a little above their heads. So there's a lot. It's not so simple for the Chiefs, but it is interesting that a market has now been established.
Right. The problem is guys like you and I watch, well, literally nearly every single play of every Chiefs football game. We just do. It's kind of what we do. It's fun. We enjoy it. We see the problem. We can see, and even when they're not even focused on the offensive line, we can see part of the pocket collapse at times. We can see players that dip and rip and get some progress and make Mahomes move inside the pocket. That's the problem. We see it. We understand it. Obviously, the Chiefs coaching staff also understands the problem, but it's a problem that in the NFL, unlike at East High School, if we have problems with our left tackle, we can't go get one. We can't. We got to figure out what we're going to do inside our situation with our players.
And in about 8 days, that's what the Chiefs are going to be dealing with too, right? Because the trade deadline will have passed.
That's right. So there you go.
There will be free agents, but it condenses this timeline to make a call. That's why I told you yesterday, and I've had a pretty good read on this. I thought they'd go get a wide receiver. I thought they should go get a pass rusher, and they've done both of those things. I think that's, not that crazy to think about, but I would tell you that I think the likelihood that they go trade for a lineman is low. I don't think they're going to.
I don't know about that.
Even if they, there are too many. You've got to find a player that's available that makes you better, and that is unlikely, I would say, right? Because good teams are not trading left tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Bad teams are bad for a reason, right? And so now you've got to go find a good player on a bad team, and then you have to go acquire the player. I just think it's unlikely because it's such a rare position where good players get traded anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a really good player and you're not upgrading, why do you make the move?
That's right.
So that's why I don't think they're going to. But I think we keep our eyes open now because it's been a lot, it's a copycat league. Look at what's happened at wide receiver, right? The first domino falls, and then all of a sudden we got wide receivers moving all over the place. Will that happen with left tackle? I don't think so, but I think it's worth paying attention to.
Yeah. To quote the movie, The Rookie, which was a baseball movie, and the scout says, somebody's asked the scout, you finding any players? He says, well, we're looking. It's the finding that's the hard part. That's the problem. It's the finding that's the hard part. And that's where the Chiefs are right now. They'll trade tomorrow. I believe they would trade. I believe they would do whatever it takes to sign another left tackle because they understand it in their interest to do. It's the finding that's the problem right now.
I don't think there's many. I can't think of one. Cam Robinson was a name that has popped up.
They would have him if he was there.
Well,
that's my point. They would,
maybe. Cam Robinson's a name that popped up, but the problem again for me, Paul, is I don't know how much better Cam Robinson is than what they have.
Well, they know,
they know. Other people know. I don't know though.
That's right.
And so it's hard for me to say, oh, they should have gone and traded for Cam Robinson. He was available.
Right.
It's easier for me to sit here and say, yes, DeAndre Hopkins is an upgrade. I know that DeAndre Hopkins is an upgrade. I can tell you about receivers, but offensive lineman goes above my pay grade, right? Uh-huh. If it's not a lineman playing for the team I actively watch every play of, then I'm not going to have I'm going to have to then trust what other people think, right? We don't see linemen when we're watching Red Zone and it's bouncing around all the touchdown plays. We know what's happening on the line for the Chiefs because we're watching the games closely. But I don't know what's happening at left tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're terrible. I'm not watching that. So that's where it's like, if the Chiefs thought Cam Robinson was an upgrade, I think they probably would have been aggressive to go get a player like that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that they think that. And the other part is too, Paul, two talented young players that you've invested a lot in. You tell me, you've been on the line. How much better can a young left tackle get over the course of a year?
Well, it depends on the left tackle, obviously, and that's a good question.
I asked Dan Israel that, by the way, and he racked his brain. I asked him Tuesday about that, and he racked his brain, and he mentioned, Willie Roaf got better over time. Certainly, that was the name that jumped. But he did he did say, like, it doesn't happen very often. Like,
right.
Especially at left tackle, you can kind of tell right away with a left tackle.
Right. There's only 3 things that count when it comes to playing left tackle: good feet, good hands, and a mean streak. That's all it takes to play left tackle. That's it. It's pretty easy to find, Jacob. Oh, it's not that easy to find. Good feet, good hands, and a mean streak. That's all it takes.
And not getting busted on the outside. And so the other thing is, like, I don't want to make excuses for the young left tackles either, that, some really good defensive ends have given them trouble, because that's all they're going to see most likely in the playoffs. Most good teams have a good pass rush. So they're going to have to get better. Now, they may get some reprieve over the course of this season to improve not playing against those kinds of players. But the point is, they got to improve. And I think they've got 2 options there. And here's the deal. They have won Super Bowls without being great at that position. They have also lost a Super Bowl because they got destroyed at that position. So it becomes, as they've, filled a couple other holes, probably, Paul, with the Chiefs at 7-0, the Ravens losing again, the game in hand against the Ravens, if you think they're the next competitor, like, it kind of becomes the number one thing to watch for the Chiefs down the stretch here.
Sure it
is
does.
How those 2 tackles, to see if either of them can sort of step it up here.
Yeah, you're right. And the one thing you touched on that I agree with too is pass rush. Pass rush can change the course of a football team. You've got a great pass rush, so many things can happen. Changes of possession, change the field position. Great pass rush makes all the difference in the world. And right now, I think I'm happy with where the Chiefs are sitting. It's you don't have that Bosa or somebody like that.
Hendrickson all those guys.
There are some really good ones. There are some really good ones. But with that being said, it's a really good pass rush right now for the Chiefs, and it's getting better, it seems like to me. But, there's still a concern at left tackle because, after all, the name Patrick Mahomes comes into the mix when we talk about that.
What do you do? They're going to roll forward. I don't think they're going to make another move. I'm going to try, Paul. I'm going to try to really evaluate left tackle, and it's hard. It's hard. You either get beat on a pass rush or you don't.
Yeah,
and the really, really good ones, you can tell are really, really good through the course of a game, right?
And
you
of course,
can tell.
We'll see, because we'll probably see that if it becomes a real problem and it's a shaky deal.
I think
you'll start seeing the Chiefs doing more.
Why aren't they? Let me ask you this: Why don't they just stick a tight end over there? I'm going to ask you that as somebody who comes up with game plans. Why not just stick a tight end over there all the time?
Not what they do. It's not what they do. But what they will do is they'll take a back, they'll slide him to that side, and the first thing he does is he'll help with the left tackle. If he doesn't, then he'll slip out into the flat. But they'll find a back that can help kind of chip on the pass rush or whatever the case is if he needs help. That's probably what the Chiefs will do, because they're not going to put Patrick Mahomes. But
you just don't want him taking shots, right? Yeah, that's
the tight end. It's still going to be one of those things where either you come off the edge of the tight end. If the tight end steps down to help with the pass rush, then there's all kinds of things that can still happen even with the tight end. If you have a weak left tackle, it's hard to cover that up a little bit. The best way to cover it up is with a back. Have him chip off if there's a problem. That
takes away a passing option,
but it does.
Yeah,
but it does. That is correct.
I wonder, Paul, if we don't see, but kind of on that. Like, I wonder if when Isaiah Pacheco comes back, and we assume that he's back healthy and Kareem Hunt's still healthy.
All right.
I sort of have and I've wondered this for a little while, if they don't start running, what is that called? 20 formation, when you have basically two halfbacks back there.
Well, it's a pro set formation if you got 2 backs.
So if you don't, and not even like in an I formation, so not an I, but you just kind of stick both back there in a shotgun.
It's still a pro set. That's right.
And let one of them just kind of block. You don't know which one or what it is, but
what you got to do. Yeah.
Because they're both capable, right? They've both been effective this year. I think it's something that we may see when Pacheco is utilizing both of those guys.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. We'll see. But a left tackle's been traded. Market's set. I don't think the Chiefs are going to do anything at that spot because I don't think they can. but they're certainly paying attention to what the Vikings did with that trade yesterday. All right, we'll come back. We got more Sports Daily. Last full segment coming. It's Jacob Albrecht. It's Paul Savage. It's a Hawaiian Shirt Wednesday. Thanks to all those who celebrate with us. And we'll be right back after this.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Welcome back in, everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you missed anything with Shreyas Laddha or Paul Mills today, you can go back and listen on the Odyssey app. Jacob Albrock, Paul Savage here. Paul, World Series Yankees get one yesterday, but play we're all talking about. The fan is the first inning, tries to take the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove.
I've never seen anything like that, Jake.
Forgive my smoker's cough there, but I thought it was so good. I mean, I'm glad that it didn't escalate, and I understand why, those things probably shouldn't happen, but it was such a perfect, representation of the frustration Yankees fans must be feeling at the way this series has gone, for a fan to just say that's enough and try and rip that ball out. Because, at that point, they don't know that they're going to explode later in the game and kind of coast into a game 4 win. You're just like, I've had enough. I got to do something here, and to try and rip that out. I didn't like that they grabbed his other hand, but I honestly thought it was pretty funny. I kind of liked it.
That funny is a weird way. I had no idea you were going to say funny. I thought it was weird. I'll give you
thought
that
you thought I'd have fake outrage at this one?
Well, I kind of do, because I've never seen anybody grab the glove. And by the way, the hand doesn't slide out. He grabbed the back of the glove on the wrist so tight that the hand couldn't come out. I mean, literally.
I didn't like that part of it.
That was not good.
But the idea of a fan being so frustrated that they try and rip the ball away out of the glove, I think is incredible. And I think it's so representative of those desperate moments we've always felt as fans. It's right there. I cannot promise you right now, Paul, that, in a different lifetime, obviously not now, but when I was younger and before I was in this for a living, if I'm a fan out there and I had tickets to game 4 and I spent all this money and my team was getting its tail kicked and that ball's sitting right there in front of me, that I wouldn't, do. I don't think I would, but I get it. I guess I get it, and I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, obviously, it wouldn't have happened if it was a Yankees in the outfield, and obviously that wouldn't have happened. But I've never seen anything quite like that. The grabbing of the glove, the fan litter, and if you haven't seen this, the play that we're talking about is in the first inning, and it's on the right. I think it's the right sideline, right down the from the pole, and it's a foul ball. And it's one of those things where the face, the work, the grimness of the Yankee fan that grabbed him. Did you notice his face? The way his determination was to get that ball out of the glove. What's he thinking, Jacob? Is he thinking, if I can fling this ball out of his glove, it'll be a foul ball? Is that what he's thinking? I don't know what he's thinking, but it was the weirdest thing. He needed to be kicked out. There's no question about that, obviously. But I've never seen anybody grab with malice. And can I use the word malice?
Oh, I'd have malice too if my team was getting its butt kicked 3 games to nothing.
You would not have malice that's ridiculous. We're for
malice, Paul. If I was a Yankees fan, I would have malice. Mookie Betts handled it fine after the game. He said it doesn't matter. He's fine. They lost, irrelevant.
Right.
Again, the rules are in place. You don't want that happening all the time or anything like that. But just knowing that everything was fine and nobody was hurt or anything like that, at the moment, I'm going to laugh at that because I thought it was pretty funny.
Right.
And again, just it's such an embodiment of what it's like to be a frustrated fan.
Right. And if you haven't seen it, you've got to see it. You've got to see it. Find it. Go on the internet, whatever you got to do to find it, and check out the expression of the guy on the left, the guy who holds the glove. I mean, let's face it. That guy's having the time of his life while that's going on. That's probably his big deal for the rest of his life. He's accomplished something. Now, obviously, what do you think those tickets cost? $500-$600? I'm guessing.
A lot.
500. Let's say 500.
They said after the game, I think ESPN talked to him. They said that they would be welcomed back. It's a season ticket holder. I love to not to stereotype here, but the guy on the left in the road jersey,
right,
is the stereotypical Yankee fan too. I mean,
God.
if you had to draw a picture of a Yankee fan, this guy, he just is the total Yankee fan. He looks the part. He's got the right swag and the right attitude, and to take that action, It was good stuff. It was good
Our
stuff.
buddy Joe Rocco. I'm going to see him a little later today, and I'm going to have to ask him about this play because Joe Rocco. I mean, there's not a Yankee fan alive that bleeds Yankee blue like he bleeds Yankee blue. So I'm going to have to ask him and see what he thought of this whole thing. But I thought of Joe Rocco on this play too. But it was different. I guess I'm giggling about it now a little bit. I thought,
it's fine. Everything now that we know everything was fine. Nobody was hurt. It was a funny thing that happened. It was high entertainment, high quality stuff there. But hey, the Yankees do get a game. We gotta, maybe we're starting to get a little bit of a series going here, and they get Garrett Cole going back now. Maybe they can turn this thing into a series. Yeah. That's oh boy, Mike says that was a $1,400 ticket. I think he must have looked it up. Hey, true fandom. Do whatever it takes to help the team win, even if you know you're getting kicked out of the game early, I guess. But a good moment and a memorable moment. And who knows, maybe the Yankees will turn this thing into a series. Right. I certainly won't hurt my feelings to see him get busted early. But we'll watch it. World Series, staying interesting. We'll come back. We'll tell you what's on the network tonight when we return on Sports Daily.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash this check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 news whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
That'll do it. Our thanks to Paul Mills, Wichita State men's basketball coach, our KU insider, Sharia Salata, great guest today. You can find all those interviews on the Odyssey app. Would tell you tonight, also in the Odyssey app and right here on KFH, you've got the Chiefs Kingdom show at 6 o'clock. You've got the Chris Kleiman show, K-State football. That's coming up at 7 o'clock. Regular programming until then, including Bob and Jeff here locally from 2 to 4. Thanks for being here, Paul. Happy Wednesday.
Well, same to you, my friend. Have a great day.
We'll talk to Paul again Friday. Tommy will be back tomorrow. Thanks to Jad. I'm Jacob. We'll see you then.